Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of Reflective Dreams. Hope you have your paints all ready to rock and roll. We're gonna finish this painting out right now. Okay, so let's move on. We've got a picturing a little hill here, a little hill over here, some grassy and rocky areas through here. And I'm picturing a body of water all down here with some reflections. So let's see what we can do. I am going to take some Sap Green, and I've just got my half-inch chip brush. I'm going to take some Sap Green. I'm going to take some Naples Yellow, maybe a touch of Cad Yellow. I was beginning to wonder if I was actually even going to use the Cad Yellow. But, you know, you just don't know until you try. So let's see what this looks like. There we go. We are just going to make us a little hill here. Just put in some color right now. Yellow, Cad Yellow. Go for now. I'm going to get me a fan brush, clean fan brush. I'm going to just rinse it out with my water just to be sure if I have any soap residue in it. I get it rinsed out. There we go. And grab us a paper towel and we'll dry that off. Dry that off. And there we are. Okay, now I'm going to go in this darker green color we made earlier, and that was Sap Green, some Phthalo Blue, a little touch of that, and a little touch of burnt umber. There we go, and I'm just going to load up my brush, and we're going to go up here and we're going to put in I'm just gonna take my fan brush. I wasn't sure what I was gonna do there at the beginning. That's why I quit talking. I'm just gonna take my fan brush and I'm just going to make myself some trees here. Now all I'm doing is I'm just tapping down at an angle, and I'm just putting some indications of some trees out here. Try not to repeat a pattern. There we go. And on this side, remember the light's coming from over here, so this side's going to be a little darker, a little more shadowy. Shadowy? Okay. So if we have those trees off in the distance, it only stands to reason we might have one standing right here. Let's get some more blue in there. Let's darken that up. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit of that black into there. And some green, sap green. There we go. Your trees don't have to be perfect. We just want some trees in there. We'll straighten them up a little bit here in a minute. Okay, there we are. Okay, let's wipe this brush out a little bit. And let's get our light colored fan brush. It's the one that I used for the clouds. I'm going to wipe it off. And then I'm going to give it a rinse in some water. If you're using traditional oils, clean it in your paint thinner. Odorless. And dry that out real good. There we go. Now, I am going to get a bit of oil. And we're going to take some Naples Yellow, some Sap Green, there we go. And I'm just going to go through here and I'm just going to touch a few highlights on. I don't much care for that. I don't care for that. So let's see what we can do. Let's darken it up a bit. A little too light. And remember, this is still off in the distance. Not going to see a whole lot of detail. I'm going to take a palette knife and give these guys some trunks. Just indications. A little too much of an indication there. We can fix that. Still off in the distance, you're not going to see a whole lot. Did it again. All right. There we go. Now, I want a little bit of a rocky area over in this section. I'm going to take a little bit of, kind of a dirt rock type thing. A little bit of burnt umber. Let's get this white over here. See what we get. I got a little bit of blue in that too, which is, that's fine. Let's see what we can get here. Actually, let me take just some straight burnt umber. Just putting some burnt umber in here. Just kind of want to make me an area of dirt and rocks and all that fun stuff. Okay, now let's see what we can do here. Just using the same technique that I did on the mountains up here. And we'll throw a little darker color in here and there. doing this, just touching and letting the canvas take what it wants, you get some really nice texture. Go. Now, let's take a little bit of oil. A little bit of oil. Get a little bit of this green. And just, let's see, that was Sap Green. That was Naples Yellow. I think I might have had some cad in there too, but I don't think I'm going to. We'll see. I'm gonna get a different brush. Get a round brush here. Let me rinse that out. Get all the soap out of it. Dry it off. Now I'm just kind of blending this edge here. All right, and I think I'm gonna need some more Sap Green up here on the palette. So, there we go. There we go. All right. Alrighty, let's get our little scrubby brush, scrubby stubby. I'm just opening that up. I'm just tapping that in there, opening those bristles up. Grab some Naples Yellow here. Grab some Cad Yellow. And maybe a little bit of black. A little bit more. Come on now. There we go. I'm going to add some blue to that. And we're going to get some color in here. See if I can hold this thing still. I'm just tapping my brush. Shoulder's getting sore. Okay, I just got the excess paint out of that brush, just wiped it off on a paper towel. Okay, now let's take some Cad Yellow, some Naples Yellow. Let's add a touch of blue to that. A little more Cad. And the ever so slightest touch, which that's way too much, so let's add a little paint, of linseed oil. There we go. Let's start picking out little highlights. Don't kill all your darks. They are your friend. Because, you know, all light has to have a shadow somewhere. And if you don't have those shadows, your painting is going to look flat. Flat, dead. So pick out your highlights. Just touch them in and don't overdo. Just wiping out my brush because I picked up a lot of that dark color. Naples Yellow, Cad Yellow, Phthalo Blue, okay, there we are. maybe we have a couple of trees over here. A couple of evergreens, some Sap Green, some Phthalo Blue, some black, load up our fan brush. And maybe there's another one. Where's he gonna live? Maybe there's another one that lives right here. Okay, well, I'm gonna take some Umber, some white, some Naples Yellow. Let's mix that up and see what we get. Maybe a little more Naples. It's okay if there's a little green in that. All I'm gonna do is just, I'm just gonna put in some indications of some trunks here. Come on. Must not have the paint exactly where it needs to be on my knife. There we go. Okay, let's highlight this. Take some Naples Yellow. Some Cad Yellow. Let's take a touch of black. A little too much, a little too much, a little too much. And a little bit of linseed oil. And we'll just go right on up here. That's just a little too much, I think. A little too much highlight. Come on. So we'll tone that down just a little bit, just by touching with that base color. All right. Okay, let's clean up a little bit of blue here. Get that green and that yellow out of there. And just set that down there in case we need it. Because we might, who knows? All right, let's I'll just take this brush. I'm just gonna take a flat, rinse out the soap. What is this? This is a number 6 flat Princeton Aspen. There we go. And I'm going to take some blue, some Phthalo Blue. I'm going to add a touch of Sap Green to it. I'm going to add a touch of burnt umber. And some white. Touch of linseed oil. Just trying to get my watercolor. My watercolor? I'm painting oils. But the color of my water to where I want it. Let's see. I think that might be it. So I'm just going to add in my water here. And I'm coming right up there. I'm going to add a little shoreline. I'm going to go with a little more white here. I'm just going to cover the rest of the canvas with this blue. Just a very thin coat. We'll blend this here in a minute. Move my paper towels out of the way. Okay. Add some more white. You know, and something I have learned is if a painting's not going exactly the way you had thought about it in your mind, just keep going with it. Because you control what is on this canvas. You don't like the way something looks, guess what? You can change it. And I know that's especially true with oils. You can change it as you're going. Try and get up a little bit closer to that shoreline. go. Now, I'm not going to put in a whole lot of like sandy shore and so forth. That's not the kind of scene this is. I'm just going to take a little bit of this burnt umber white, and I think it has some Naples yellow in it. And I'm just going to go right up here. That was burnt umber, some white, some Naples yellow. Not Cad yellow, Naples yellow, Dale. A little more umber. More. There we go. Okay. I'm going to add a little more white. Right over in this area. I want to lighten this area up. Okay, there's that. And let's see here. Get our 1-inch chip brush here. Just to make sure there's no paint there in it. And I'm just going to blend. All right. Now, I think that we need to grab that flat brush that we were using for our water. There we go. And I'm just going to grab and I'm going to pull down. I may lose my shoreline. Looks like that's okay. I'm not terribly concerned about it. I'm just going to pull some reflections down. Probably should have put the shoreline in after I did this, but that's okay. Doesn't really matter. Don't get hung up on things too much. Now grab that 1-inch brush, pull it over this way. Now let's try to put that shoreline back in. Whoops. You'll have that. I'm gonna scrub one in. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Find a spot I can put that brush. All right. Now let's just grab some of this white. It's got some blue in it. It probably has a little bit of black in it. Let's just get some right here on our knife, and we'll just go in here and start adding a little shoreline. Oh, waterline. Keep your knife as horizontal as you can get it. Then you can go back in, and if it's too bright in some areas, just rub it. You can pick up paint and pull it on down. Like I'm going to pick up some paint right here. I'm just going to put it over here. Hey, there's nothing that says you can't do that. It's your world, I keep telling you. Do what you want. Paint what you want. And don't let anyone ever try to tell you that what you painted is incorrect. I mean, constructive criticism is one thing, and I'm okay with that if it's coming from someone that I know. If it's coming from someone, I don't know you, I don't know your work, hey, I didn't ask your opinion. So don't let people do that to you. This is your world, this is your art, and it should reflect who you are, not who someone thinks you should be. I'm telling you, I'm really on a soapbox here lately, aren't I? Oh, man. I don't think I should be like that, but it's just the way that it is. I'm so tired of hearing about artists who somebody has said, oh, you shouldn't do that, or that's not right, or, you know. I had one I painted, and I posted it in one of the art groups I'm a member of. And someone told me, lose this, do this. I mean, not even hello, how are you? And I thought, I don't even know who you are. And what you just did is so rude. I didn't ask for any criticism on it. I was just saying, hey, look what I painted. Now, if I know you, I know your work, I know your art, quite honestly, we're probably friends, and I would appreciate your opinion on it. But I know you. I have a friend, someone who I respect as an artist, and also just as just a good all-around person, who offered me some. Actually, it was some praise on a piece. And he said, I don't usually say anything because I know you don't like you don't like criticism. You don't like someone critiquing your work. And I told him, no, that's not really the case. I would take your critique any day because I know you and I know your work. So yeah, you can gain a lot of knowledge from a constructive critique. But at the same time, this person has never, ever tried to tell me what I should or should not paint. And he is an incredible artist. I'm going to tell you right now, dude is freaking amazing. His name is J.D. Wayne. He is the rock and roll painter. Look him up on YouTube. Seriously. His portraits are just astounding. And I have come to the conclusion, and I'm okay with this, I'm not going to be a portrait artist. I am a landscape artist through and through. I mean, I might throw in some mystical creatures from here and there, but for someone to say, hey, can you paint this picture of this person? No, I really can't. Because I can't make it look like that person. But I'm okay with that. There are some portrait artists that are just, oh, they're so good. They're so good. But I'm not one of those people, so I'm just going to stick with my landscapes. So hope that's okay. You know what? We need some reflections. I mean, we have a little bit going on here, but what about these trees right here? What about this hill right here? What if we had this hill reflecting? Kind of like, that. Just adding some color here. I'm just adding some color down here. And we're going to see if we can't come up with a reflection or some semblance thereof. Okay. Take our 1-inch chip brush. And I'm just getting any excess paint out. I'm just going to pull it straight down. And then I'm going to go across. That out. Might need a little more right in here. And there we go. Okay, how about this little guy right here? Let's see here what we can do. Now, since I was, these, as Bob would say, these are downy branches, okay? These are evergreens that have downies. So for my reflection, I need to make upsies with my brush, which means I'm just going to use the corner and I'm just going to flick it up, up, up. When I was coming here, I was just pressing it in and it was going down. So let's go up, up. And a little bit higher. I'm going to add just a fuzz of highlights. Still using my up push, but I mean I'm just barely touching. we go. Now I'm going to take my 1-inch brush and I'm just going to very lightly pull that down. Very lightly go across. Right there. There we go. All right. I'm just going to leave that brush laying on this palette next to my table, or on my table next to me, because I'm going to use it here again in a second, because I have these two right here. I also want to put in the water, although I'll be honest, I don't know how much of these are going to get seen, because I plan on doing some vegetation right here with some little flowers in it. And I think that actually I went a little too long. That's all right. We'll just bam. It's not too long now. Okay. We'll go with our uppity pushes. And again over here. They don't have to look perfect, because we're going to fuzz them out. I think Bill Alexander said hypnotize them. He did that with his clouds too. He'd hypnotize his clouds. There we go. Let's put a touch of highlight, not a whole lot. And as I said, I don't know how much these might get covered up, because I'm going to be putting in vegetation right here. Some sort of foliage. Some sort of foliage. Okay, let's very lightly bring it down. Very lightly go across. There we go. And maybe, just maybe, we might have a little more right here. Touch of highlights. Doesn't really matter where you put them. Just a touch of highlights. There we go. And lightly pull down and go across. There we go. Okay. Now I want to start putting in my little foliage in here. So I'm going to take this dirty 1-inch or ½ chip brush. I'm going to go into some dark color. I have this black. We'll go with some black. We'll put it up here. We'll go with some blue. Put it right there. And we'll go with some sap green. And I just want a dark color down here. And just go right here. A little bit of foliage, a little vegetation. Just to wherever it feels right. Maybe we have just a little bit that shows right back up here. of disappears off the canvas and then comes right back up. How's that? Okay. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Do. Now I'm going to take a clean 1/2" chip brush and I'm going to go into some Cad Yellow and some Sap Green. Let's see. A little more Cad Yellow. Remember, don't neglect the dark. In other words, don't cover up all your darks. You're going to need those. Remember, lights and darks. That's what we're doing. We're playing them off each other. I'm going to wipe that brush because I'm picking up some of that real dark color. Okay, let's get some more Cad Yellow. And I'm just tapping it. And I'm just going to touch, push. I'm not sliding my brush. I'm just touching and pushing. Boom. Okay, now if it's not sticking, just add the slightest little touch, and I mean slightest little touch, of some oil. You just want to thin it just slightly. And I think now I'm going to take some Naples Yellow to go in there too. Naples Yellow, it's kind of a cool yellow that what it does is it just kind of mutes things a little bit. Makes it not quite so candy colored. And I'm just making little bushy shapes. I'm still trying to maintain my dark shadows. Now, I may just take a little bit of white, a little bit of Sap Green, just to get a different color. See what that looks like. It kind of disappears. It's subtle, and I like that. I don't want real bright, harsh colors up here. I don't want it to be taken away from the color of the flowers that I'm gonna put in. So I'm just gonna clean that brush out with a little bit of water. Scrub it on the little screen on the bottom of my water container. Now, like I said before, if you're using traditional oils, clean it in your thinners. That's, you know, no biggie. No biggie. Okay, let's sit back and look at it here for a second. Okay. Okay. I'll take that. All right. Now I'm going to get my liner brush and I'm going to actually go into this clean water because I've been cleaning, you know, I've been cleaning off my brushes in my water, and so it's dirty, it's murky, but I have a second container that I haven't touched yet, so we'll rinse the soap out. There we go. And I'm going to dip my brush in some linseed oil. I'm not going to wipe it back out. And I'm going to go here into this darker color. And I want this paint to be thin. If you're using a liner brush, it's you really do. You want your paint to be thin. Now I'm just rolling this brush, bringing it to a point, and I'm going to go down here and I'm just going to put in some grasses and little stems coming out from these bushes, because that's where our flower is going to live. Now when I say I'm going to paint flowers, I don't mean I'm going to sit there and I'm going to paint each individual petal. No, I'm just going to give an indication. Just an indication of some flowers, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, just very loosely, just go like, you know, in a little arc one way and then go in a little arc the other way. And I'm just coming right up through that paint that I just put on. Each time I'm loading, I'm rolling that brush, coming to a nice point. And this color I'm putting on the that I'm rolling my brush in, it's mixing with the colors that are already there, and it's giving me some kind of cool effects. Looks like grasses, looks like stems. Okay, there we go. And that is what we were looking for. I just cleaned off my brush a little bit. Actually, I'm going to have to clean it again. I got a little bit of paint up on the handle right underneath, well, this thing doesn't have a ferrule, but right where the bristles and the handle meet. That's all right. It's cleaned off now. Okay, now that chip brush that I had cleaned off, it's, you know, I rinsed it out, got all the other color off. Now what I want some pink flowers. Remember, we have a little bit of pink up here in the clouds. So I'm going to take some Alizarin Crimson and I'm just going to tap. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab some white. Okay. And I'm just tapping. And I'm looking for a pattern here on my palette. Excuse me, I need a drink of coffee. And I'm just gonna tap, looking for this pattern of, let me see if I can find a place. I don't know if you can see that, but I don't want a big clump of paint. So I think I've got what I need here. I'm gonna go here and I'm just gonna touch. And you know what? That's not sticking real well, so a little bit of oil. Let's get a little more white. A little bit of oil. Now be careful with that oil because, you know, I said I don't want it to all clump. That oil can make it clump. I mean, like, when I say clump, I just mean not separate little flowery looking things. There we go. Very light touch. Super light touch. You go too heavy a touch and it will look like just a big blob. And we don't want that, right? Little shapes. Turn your brush as you do it. Wherever you think that a flower should live, that's right where it should be. There we go. All right. You sit back and take a look at that. Well, get our liner brush. There we are. And I'm going to go into my oil, and I'm really going to load that sucker up. Go here into this pink. I think that'll be a good color. I want it really, really thin. It starts running down my palette, that is okay. Because all I'm going to do is come here. We're going to sign this one. And there it is, folks. Hope you enjoyed.